part of the start of the month. It's time to talk movies, and I'm delighted to say Collie McFadden does join me live in studio. Good morning, Collie.
Good morning. I was just wondering, is that sort of subliminal messaging that you're doing, like coming ahead of Valentine's Day, playing a song, what you're proposing? Are you trying to drop hints to the men or indeed women of Donegal? And it's a leap year. It's a leap year.
Oh.
Yeah?
Oh, that's a whole other...
Well, I'm just saying.
Subconsciously, I may have done it.
Yeah.
It wasn't on purpose, but
your old romantic you.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, you just can't get rid of the romance. You're just one of those people. But thank you very much. It's great to be back. It's been relatively long time. It's been 5 weeks. A lot of
that's long for us.
That's long for us. A lot has happened then, but we've loads of new stuff to talk about. Really, at the moment, after the couple of years of the pandemic, it's just there's so many films coming out,
and this week is no different.
Okay, yeah, so let's dive straight into it. Probably the big one that most people are waiting on, or most people that are they're aware of, is the Bob Marley biopic.
Yeah, which they were calling One Love.
Actually, hold on, before we go any further, right, is it biopic or biopic?
I say biopic. Lots of people say biopic. I think biopic sounds more natural.
See, I think biopic sounds more...
Well, it sounds too much like Bionics for me, and there's somebody who's just had a hip replacement and is really disappointed that I am not faster, or indeed the 10% sexier I assumed I'd be. But we'll move on to that.
Are you squeaking?
Yeah, a little bit. Do you have the WD-40 ready? You did promise if I came all the way from Bundoran that you'd have that. It's been my first adventure in a car. But anyway, so this one is really interesting. And it's funny, I was thinking as I was listening to you on the road on the way up, that this is the perfect radio show to talk about this, because as a kid I really didn't care for the music of Bob Marley. It was very popular. Growing up in South Dublin, loads of people liked it, and I not only didn't like it, I actively disliked it, right? But like a lot of the songs you play, the stuff, because when you're a kid, it's all niche, isn't it? I was a rocker, therefore you can't like other stuff. Other people liked the electronic stuff. They liked Depeche Mode and stuff like that, so they couldn't like that. You all had little boxes, and you said, oh, unless that's in my box, I'm not into it.
You had to fit neatly into that.
And when I listen to the selection of classic hits that you play, it always occurs to me, you go, oh, that's a great song. And you go, 10-year-old Collie would have had such a hump on him that you like that now. But it's true, isn't it? One of the cool things, there's very little good about getting older, but one of the great things is you broaden your mind that much and you don't care whether somebody thinks it's cool or not, you like the song or not. And I feel that about Bob Marley in my later years. I started to understand more about it. And let's face it, there's some great tunes, and we always got so wrapped up in sort of the Rastafarian thing, even the marijuana thing. That was such an image about it. You forget about that he had a really interesting life. Such a megastar in Jamaica, the first really person to cross over. There were other reggae stars, but he was such a huge impact, and it changed music, and then died so tragically young. And it's such an interesting story. It'd be really interesting to see it, and we all have such an idea of the accent and the music. It's going to be a tough role to play, because we all have that. I think it was like Elvis a couple of years ago, which Austin Butler did a great version of it, because we all know the Elvis accent in our head, and I feel it's the same about Bob Marley, isn't it? You have that sort of almost comedy accent of that sort of Jamaican laid back, chilled out stuff, and where it becomes an acting performance and not an impression. It's going to be really interesting to see. And of course, do they have the rights to all the songs? I don't know, because it's not out yet. It opens on Valentine's Day, which is it a good movie for Valentine's Day or not? I don't know.
Yeah, it's...
Well, One Love. It's very romantic.
Yeah, I suppose...
Jam and less so.
Yeah. But come here, tell me, does this fit into... I mean, where... in terms of the various biopics we've had over the last few years. So we've had Elvis, we've had Bohemian Rhapsody, we've had Rocket Man. So, you had Bohemian Rhapsody, which, told a story. Yeah. Elvis sort of did that as well, whereas Rocket Man was a little bit more surreal. It was
almost a musical. Guaranteed.
Yes, exactly,
guaranteed. I think this is much more the story, and I think it's a big part of his, like, based around a certain time in his life, but telling the whole story, but concentrating in one section. And I think a lot of this is about he quite a complicated family life, had a lot of children, and it's also going about the time when he had to. There was an attempt on his life in Jamaica, and he felt he had to leave.
His homeland where he loved to live, but that was part of the catalyst in catapulting him into being a megastar in the rest of the world, because he was already a big star, but he kind of went gigging more. And of course, the Windrush generation in England, which is all the people who left Jamaica in the 1960s to go work in the NHS and all that, be policemen and post office. Men and stuff in Britain in the 60s, all their kids had grown up on old school reggae, and then when someone like Bob Marley came up, they were concert ticket buying age and so on, and all their white friends were going, what was this you're listening to? And suddenly became a different world. So it's all about that time of his life. I'm really interested to see it. Also, I'm really pleased, it's only about 2 hours long. I was going, okay. Because too many, too many 3 hours songs. So be really interesting. Kingsley Ben Amos is the star. He's an up and coming star. He was also one of the Kens in the recent Barbie movie. So this is quite a contrast.
It's quite the step up.
Quite the step up. But he's really good. He's been in a lot of TV, big. Famous TV stuff recently.
People might recognise him from Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders is a good one. Yeah, I've forgotten he was in that, and I think this will be. I think I don't know how many requests you would get for things like Bob Marley and so on, but he's still a huge star. Like ABBA and that sort of stuff. Like, it is just bulletproof music. Everyone knows it.
Yeah,
even if they wouldn't know the name of the song, once the start of Three Little Birds come, I still play it at the end of every song. Don't worry about a thing, which is actually called Three Little Birds. Everyone knows that music. So you feel that there'll be a big draw. I can't wait to see it, and I hope it's good.
You think it'll be up there with the Elvises and the Bohemian Rhapsody?
I think that would be hard to do. Funny enough, wasn't a huge fan of Bohemian Rhapsody because I was a massive Queen fan as a kid, still am, and I found it a bit too schlocky. But and like that, I think the Bob Marley people are still quite involved in this one. So sometimes it can be a slightly sanitised version of the story when the family are involved. But to be fair, I haven't seen it yet, so we don't know. But there's good vibes about it. Sorry, that wasn't pun not intended. But they're absolutely, the buzz around it is that this is a good one. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Okay, so that hits theaters
Valentine's Day.
So we'll talk a bit more about it next month as well. Okay, once it's been in theaters for a while. We'll move on to a wrestling movie.
Yes.
The Iron Claw.
Now, talking about right up my street, right? As a kid, massive wrestling fan. Not so much anymore, but now what I do is watch shows like The Dark Side of the Ring, all the behind the scenes stories. I love that sort of stuff. And this is the true story of the Von Erich brothers, right? So they were based out of Texas. They were megastars. When wrestling used to be very regional based, so there was a big family in the South, big family other base. The WWE, as we know it now, was New York, and then Vince McMahon decided he was going to make it a worldwide
thing and was very successful in doing so. But this is just before that, when in different areas, before people could travel so easily and there wasn't TV everywhere, that they were the megastars. This family, their dad had built a wrestling business. The reason they're called Von Erich is their dad was a bad guy in the wrestling business in the 50s, and he was a Nazi, right?
So this wasn't. So this isn't the wrestling that we would be familiar with nowadays, as in WWE.
No, it was
real.
Yeah, but it was the start of it. It was the stuff that led to this. These guys were huge megastars in their own area, but it wasn't worldwide.
Okay.
But it was the same sort of stuff, goodies and baddies.
Okay.
And he had he actually had 6 sons altogether, and 4 of them went into wrestling, and they were golden gods. They were natural sportsmen, good looking, all of them. Very Texan, it was guns, God, and wrestling. That's the way they were. And people loved them. And they used to draw massive, massive crowds. But their dad was very tough on them. Now, I was familiar with this story, but I brought my brother to see it the other day. He was up helping me after my operation, and we went to see it. He knew nothing about it. He didn't like wrestling at all. When I was a kid, he just got so annoyed at me watching wrestling all the time. But he definitely didn't know this story. So it was interesting to watch it with somebody who knew the story completely, and the one who hadn't heard anything about it at all, and we both really enjoyed it in kind of slightly different ways. The problem is that sort of performance, obviously wrestling is pre-arranged, right? But they would always, a lot of them would say, it's not completely fake, because to do those sort of flips and acrobatics, to pretend to, to take the chair shots and so on, it still hurts. The results are pre-arranged, but a lot of the stunts they pulled, particularly the stuff to get big money, because the crowds came, the more spectacular you did, the higher you jumped off a building, the more people that came.
So it's really happening, even though it's storyline.
Yeah, it's more
really
like stuntmen than it is, but they're pushing themselves. And when you have to play 300 nights a week or a year, the only way to do it is painkiller after painkiller. And that takes a toll on the body, and it takes a toll on the mind. And that's exactly what happened. And no more than a lot of rock stars who, have passed now that were on totally legal, prescribed things for them. But the show must go on, and it just takes a toll on your life. The same thing happened to the Von Erichs. And a lot of the wrestlers of my youth aren't with us anymore, even though they would still be relatively young men. And this story is quite a sad story. It is actually such an amazing true story that they've toned it down. Some of the real events they didn't put in because they just said people wouldn't believe the movie and it's too sad.
Wow.
So for example, there were 6 brothers. In this, there's only 5 brothers. And, it's no big spoiler to say not everything ends well for everyone.
Okay.
And it is amazing a display of how show business isn't always as glamorous as it makes out to. And these people who are golden gods for 20 minutes in the ring, the amount of work they had to put in and the toll it takes on the body is really
amazing. Now, the cast are really good. Zac Efron, who of course was famous as, High School Musical and Song and Dance Man, he is so beefed up in this. He is such a must-man, and like the athleticism, is really good. You've got Jerry Allen White, who's a big star now. He's in The Bear on Disney Plus. That has been a huge hit. Won loads of Emmys. He plays Kerry Von Erich, who's probably the most famous of these sons. He went on to be in the WWE, and you've a really interesting cast. It's really good, really interesting. And all the more you'll be going, people will come out and go, Google that and go, that bit can't be true. And then they'll find out about Chris Von Erich, who's not in the movie, and go, my God, what a family. How did this happen?
So that's in theatres as we speak.
As we speak. It opened yesterday. I think you'd like this one. So you remember last month you talked about going to see Next Goal Wins. Now, this is the opposite in that it's very sad as opposed to the fun side of the Next Goal, but it's the same in that, truth is stranger than fiction type of story. Real life, we can't write drama like real life. Things that happen to people. So I think that's very interesting. I think people will enjoy it. And don't worry about like wrestling. It's nothing to do about wrestling. It could be rock music. It could be American football.
Yeah, so it's a story told.
Yeah. About a family dynasty, yeah.
Okay, so that's in theatres now. That's The Iron Claw. Alright, time for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk midterm break.
Yeah!
All you need to make your house a home.
I think you will like it. I just forgot about it.
From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, the Halliford.
Tesco Club Card gives you the power to lower prices to make the biggest pancake stacks around this Pancake Tuesday. Like Tesco traditional pancake shaker was €1.60, now €1. Nutella 350 gram was €3.35, now €2.75. And Tesco 4-pack of lemons was €1.32, now 99¢. You might even have enough left over for a Pancake Wednesday. Lower the cost of your shop with your Tesco Club Card or app. The power to lower prices. Tesco. Every little helps. Products subject to availability. Prices may vary in express stores.
Ah, the difference fragrance makes in a woman.
Treat your Valentine to top brand perfumes from McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny.
What are the different types of fragrance?
Chanel, Calvin Klein, Gucci, Elizabeth Arden, Giorgio Armani, Dolce & Gabbana, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Flower Bomb, and many more.
The perfect gift at the perfect price. Designer perfume from McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our listeners about your vacancies both on air and online. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All job listings will be available online at highlandradio.com. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
You're listening to Rewind with Rory Farrell on Highland Radio. Good morning!
Time is 10 minutes to midday. Collie McFadgen is in studio with me. We are talking all things movies. We have a midterm break coming up, so that can mean only one thing. Movies for the kids.
Lots of kids' movies out. And the biggest of all, you know, we were talking about things that surprise you. Probably the biggest of all, I don't have any kids. So I wasn't quite aware how big a star Peppa is. So there's a new Peppa Pig. Was your little girl a Peppa fan back in the day?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
So Peppa has got her. Peppa's having a cinema party, right? And I went, put the thing up on Facebook. Oh my god! Oh my god! The interest in it. I thought there's a movie called Migration, which we'll talk about in a second. But oh no, so many people are so excited about it, and you know it's kind of interactive, and it's all new episodes apparently made just for the cinema. And they're promising it'll only be shown in the cinema, and everyone's very excited. So many tickets sold. Now I thought the phrase capitalist pig meant something completely different. I didn't realise what a moneymaker Peppa is, but I am told reliably that in a world of so many annoying YouTube and various kids' movies, that a lot of people don't mind Peppa. Peppa and Bluey are two of the ones that people kind of go...
respectfully disagree, but
okay.
go on.
well, it seems the mammies of Donegal are very keen on Peppa, so that's going to be
there is nothing that puts a knot in my stomach quite like the Peppa Pig theme tune.
Oh, see, I feel like that about Paw Patrol, and I don't even have kids. Oh, that's the one that gets me. But you know, it's going to be really popular. It's going to be all over midterm, and again, I think it's probably a lovely time for people who want to bring a smallie to the cinema, and they're not quite sure if they're ready for it yet. Like it's only about an hour long, and it's something very familiar. To them, and I think maybe it's a nice introduction to the cinema. For a slightly older, well, we've got the Jungle Bunch, which I was about to tell you the plot of. There is no need. It's a bunch of cute animals traveling the world, right? Let's not pretend we're talking, you know, Citizen Kane here. but it's probably for 4 to 7 year olds. And then sort of for everyone there's Migration, which I think is one that maybe more people would be interested in. It opened last week. It's very cute. It's from the people who bought us Despicable Me and the Minions, and we've got new Despicable Me coming out this summer.
That's right.
Now it mightn't be quite at that level, but it's a really nice story. It's about a little family of ducks. The dad is very nervous. It's kind of a bit Finding Nemo that way. Dad's very nervous. He doesn't want to migrate. They want to stay in the pond. Eventually the family one year say, come on, we got to migrate and meet the other ducks. They do, and do you know what? They get lost and end up in New York, right?
Okay.
And everything goes wrong.
The way you were describing that, I thought this sounds like a story with a lesson.
Well, there are lots of lessons, mostly about family and adventure and enjoy yourself. And it's cute and it's funny, and I think all the family will quite enjoy it. You know, as I said, it's not maybe the top tier, but for midterm, it's a really nice movie that mum and dad won't be too bored in, and there's some really good jokes. The little baby duck gets all the best one-liners and is actually very funny.
Okay, all right, so that's Migration. And that's out over midterm as well.
Yeah, and if you've a couple of different age of kids, that would be the one I'd recommend,
So there's something really for every sort of age group.
Yeah, and even for the slightly more teeny audience, we've got Madam Web, which is kind of a spin-off from the sort of Spider-Man Marvel universe. So she's a character like with Venom and that sort of part of Spider-Man. And it's played by Dakota Johnson. She's not... Madam Web is kind of confusing name. Basically, she's psychic. She can see things that are happening to people. She goes around solving problems. Now, that one opens on Valentine's Day too, so I haven't seen it. Now, it's a lesser known Marvel one, so I'd be curious to know how it goes, because there's been a bit of a backlash, as we know, about superhero movies that haven't done so well lately. But even though the Marvels I thought was really good, but
people slated.
Yeah, people were annoyed by the last few and just didn't go to it. And now it's doing really well on Disney Plus. So it'll be interesting to see. This is much more of a female-led one as well, and how it does. But that's more for the teenagers over midterm.
Okay, we have about a minute left. You wanted to talk about a bit of a sleeper hit that sort of crept in under the radar. Anyone But You.
Absolutely. Just wanted to, because last month I talked about Poor Things, which I loved. Weird movie. I talked about All of Us Strangers, which I absolutely loved, but it's proved very divisive. Loads of people going, it's a ghost? What? I don't get it. And I loved it. And we went on and on about that. We barely mentioned Anyone But You, because I thought romantic comedy, it'll be there for about 25 minutes. 6 weeks later, it's still the busiest show in town. It is put Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten back to the top of the charts. It's so many people. They've released extra footage for the Valentine night shows because it's so popular. It just goes to show you, after spending the last 20 minutes telling you what you should go and see, nobody knows nothing, Rory. Nobody knows nothing. Look up, Google the stuff yourself, and don't be listening to idiots like me. Because people love what they love.
Because we have 15-20 minutes to fill every month. So don't
It's only this week. But it just goes to show you there's no predicting stuff. People like what they like, and sometimes something hits a chord. Maybe times are tough at the moment, and maybe a romantic comedy in a beautiful place set in Australia in the sun with beautiful people maybe is just what you need sometimes. And we'll watch the dark movies when things are a bit easier.
Okay. That wraps it up for this morning. Collie, thank you so much for coming up to see us. We will talk to you next month, and we'll be talking Oscars, we'll be talking
Ghostbusters,
yes,
and Dune 2 for me. That's what I'm so excited about.
We look forward to that next month, and that's where I have to wrap it up as well. Thanks to everyone who got in touch with the show, with the requests, the dedications, the suggestions for music as well. Thanks to Liam for his help on the programme. I'm back next Saturday morning. We will do it all over again from 10 a.m. Paul McDevitt's up next with the Saturday Shuffle, and Donal is on his way as well with a news update for you. But from me, Rory Farrell, and Collie McFadgen, take care, bye-bye, and I'll talk to you next Saturday morning. We'll leave you with a little bit of Aretha, I think. Respect. Take care, bye-bye.